Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2021 Developer Dynasty. Here Tuesday night, Wolverine Studios Twitch channel. We are very excited to talk about the latest developments this week as we move closer to the first access release point. Speaking of first access, if you are a football fan and you haven't yet pre-ordered Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2021, I just want to let you know that time is running out to do that. We're closing in on the official launch, at which point the pre-order discount and deal will stop. So if you're thinking about pre-ordering the pro football game, you want to get on that very soon. I want to thank, as always, our followers to the channel. We had a couple of new followers over the past day or so. We have Neon Dion 75 and Gimpy Knee. I like both of those names a lot. Those are clever screen names. And of course, huge thank you as always to our subscribers, including our newest subscriber, Bead11, who has subscribed via Twitch Prime. If you don't know what that is, if you are an Amazon Prime customer, you can link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch Prime, and that gives you one free subscription every month. So we certainly appreciate the people who take that free sub and use it on us, and especially those who continue to renew it for free month after month. So huge thank you to our subscribers and Bead11 for the support. We are just a few million subscribers away from that company yacht that we've been saving up for. So if you have the opportunity, join that sub list. If not, we're happy that you're a follower, and thank you for being here. As always, too, I want to remind you guys to use the chat box. We'll talk about a couple of things tonight, but if you have questions or you want to comment on what we're showing off, by all means, use that chat box, and we'll have a discussion about whatever it is you want to cover, or if you just want to say hello, use that chat box so we know that you're out there. All right, so last time we talked about a couple of things with milestone tracking and in-game presentation improvements, and we're going to go a little bit further on those topics this week. So to start, I created a league that I needed a historical custom roster league so that we had some historical stats to do this. So I grabbed a community mod from Pro Basketball 2020 and used it here so I could get the historical stats for the players. If you'll notice, there's been a change on the screen here, and GM Games Chris in the chat. Hey to you, Chris. Welcome as always. Down here on the left side menu here, there was prior a button here that said search. So that search button has been moved up to here, which is the player search, and you can click on that magnifying glass icon, and then you can look through all of the players in the league at once. You can see, using that, look at the entire league and see players who are on the trading block, all that kind of stuff. So that's been moved up there in favor of this new milestone link. So I'm going to click on that and show you guys what we're doing here with the milestones. So what the milestone link is going to do is it's going to keep track of points, assists, rebounds, steals, and blocks for players over the course of their entire career, and then give you this single milestone tracker page where it's going to show how close players are to a certain milestone and how many more they have to go to reach it. So like I said, these the numbers aren't totally accurate because I grabbed an old community roster mod. I just wanted to prove out the concept here. So what it's going to show you is these 5 categories. You'll be able to scroll down and see which players are nearing a milestone, and it's not going to show all of the players, obviously. So there are players, let's say on this list, if you have 13,025 points and you're 975 points from 14,000, it's not going to show it. You got to get like halfway over that halfway mark to the milestone before those players will show up. But I think this is kind of a fun addition that you can go through here, and obviously everybody is clickable, so that you can click on any players and bring up their player card. But you're going to be able to look and track players in your league for all of these these significant markers, and it's every for blocks, and we start at 500 and go every 100, and you'll notice that there's gaps in it too, rather than showing that there's nobody who's nearing 1500 or 1600 blocks. We just leave a gap and we'll just show whatever the next closest milestone is for somebody. So you can always use the almanac to find the career leaders. Let me grab something to show you on that. So if we go to the career and we go to scoring, so you can always use this and see where players are in terms of their career stats and who's chasing down the leader and stuff like that. And the players who are active in the league at that time are bolded. But this new milestone tracker is going to allow you to kind of see everybody who's active in the league, and where they're going to the levels that they're closing in on. So Nolan's 34, good to see you again as always. Question: the milestone numbers in this view, are they fixed? If a player hits 40,000 points, will he show a 40,000 points category or disappear from that screen? So the milestone numbers are fixed, but they are fixed at higher points than anybody has ever achieved in the history of the NBA. So there is that 40,000 point tier, just in case anybody ever does something miraculous and has a career like that, it will extend to that. And if it turns out that we do have a player in somebody's sim who exceeds those limits, then it's easy enough to go in and update and just up it a little bit higher. But for the sake of speed in the code, I didn't make it like search for who's closing in on 100,000 points or something like that, because that's crazy. But kind of took the NBA all-time leaders and the levels that they got to, and then worked down from there. Breeze 837, always good to see Breeze in our chats. What did you miss? Sorry you came late. Well, you didn't miss anything. We're still talking about the first topic, Breeze, the milestone tracker, which you see up on the screen now, and that's going to allow you to see who in your league is closing in on certain milestones. In addition to that, these are going to be used during simulations, which I'm going to switch over to a different league now so that we can simulate a little bit. Those milestones are going to play a part in simulating the games as well, because it's not only going. We showed last week that when we're simulating, there will be season milestones that pop up along the way during the simulation, but there will also be these career milestones that they hit. So if somebody does hit 20,000 points, you're going to see that notification. So I'm going to sim this league a little bit and see if we can get some of those milestones to come up again. This league is a new fictional league, so it won't have historical milestones coming up, but hopefully we'll see some of the in-season ones. And you can see coming up right now the notations for the amount of triple doubles in the season. So if you haven't seen that, if you weren't here last week, that's something new that's been added as a little kind of achievement that comes up during the sim. And there are season specific milestones like hitting 2,000 points or 500 assists or something like that, that will generate the milestone notification for a single season. And then there will also be the career milestone pop-ups when somebody does hit one of those career marks that they're chasing down. So let's sim a little bit here and see if we can get somebody to hit some of the at least season milestones, and then you can kind of see what that looks like. The speed of the simulation is maybe just a little bit slower with the addition of kind of this milestone tracking stuff. I think it's not noticeably terribly slow or anything like that, but it is going to check more data now to check if they're hitting these milestones and things like that. So it's something I will continue to monitor as well, and try to improve on as well. But I think that I think that getting these notifications is is really worthwhile. I guess we can always go and add another an option, a level where it would turn off all the notifications, and then it would move it much quicker through the season, because it wouldn't check for those things and wouldn't display them for you. And you could still go have the Milestone Tracker if you wanted to stop the sim and go back and look. But we could turn off the notifications too as well, and that way it wouldn't look for them and pop them up, down here in the corner. And if you haven't seen many of the streams for our 2021 game here, these pop-ups in the corner are new, as they kind of show you how your team fared in the game that was simmed, and who your best players were at points, assists, and rebounds in that game. So that's another way I think that helps track what you're doing, and that's really something that I'm working on here is pushing you as much useful and interesting and relevant information as possible on the screens here, so that you can always go and look in the league media for the news and stuff like that. But I want to bring it to you too, so that you realize all these things are going on, and there you see a season milestone achieved as 500 assists were made there. So you got a chance to look at that one. I'm going to stop the sim then and go ahead and we're going to look at some of the in-game stuff too. Let me make sure we have all the sounds muted, just so that we don't have that going on during the game. So we're just going to show this 2D that I showed it off a little bit last week. We started working on it, but I want to show a little further what's going to happen during the game. So as always during the game, there is the stats here at the bottom, and at the the bottom left, bottom right for the team. So those are going to stay up during the game, but we've been working on when something special happens, that those will go away, and you'll see a quick pop-up with the player who did something special or unique, whether it's on a game basis or a season-long basis. So we're going to go through this game here and see what happens, and see if we can get some of those to come up. So while I'm doing that, if you've got some questions or anything that you want to put in the chat box, now's a good time to do it. I can get to those, and I will take what's already in there. So GM Games Chris in PB21, do the head coaches appear in the coach search as well? That's something in CB20. Let's see. Sometimes listed as available for first, second coach. If you're talking about hiring guys in the season, the head coaches will appear if they're not with somebody else. So there's not a mechanism, I guess. I'm assuming what you're talking about is the ability in college basketball where you can sort of steal coaches from other teams. There is not, I don't think that the coaches who are head coaches of other teams are listed as possible, that you could take them. For when making a filter for a realistic first or second head coaches show, yeah, there are guys who may have served as a head coach who will accept a first assistant job, typically not a second assistant job, but they will in some cases be willing to accept a first assistant job. So if you turn on the filter to look for the first assistant, they will come up in the search. They will be willing to take that. It wouldn't be for a coach who's really experienced. So if you had, for whatever reason, like, Phil Jackson in the coaching pool or something, he's not going to take an assistant job. Um, but they, but if it's a lesser experienced head coach who may take a first assistant job to get another crack at a head coaching job, that can happen. Let's see. Nolan's 34 late game strategy. I've seen some games where the best player fouls out. Is it feasible to introduce coach option to assign who would foul the ball handler? I've seen games lost on defense when the best offensive player fouls out. Um, there's a couple things you can do. Number one is you can always assign your defensive matchups in the game. So if you have a player that you don't want to commit the foul, typically the ball is going to be in the hands of their best ball handler or their best player, best free throw shooter at the end of a game. So I would swap I would make the change to put the player I did not want to foul guarding whoever was least likely to get the ball. And then obviously you could sub the player out as well. And then, if you're talking about the AI, the AI will attempt to manage it. It doesn't, maybe necessarily always work. It doesn't always get the right matchup or, have the guy avoid the foul. But it will try to manage it as best as it can. And then the players are also, their intelligence rating comes into play too sometimes in those situations where if they're a smarter player, they'll be able, and a higher disciplined player, they'll be able to avoid fouls, and they may not be the one who will commit the foul then, and they'll wait for somebody else to do it. But that's something too that can be looked at in terms of the the end game AI. That's always a situation that gets looked at for every version, always trying to improve the AI so that it's making the right moves at least most of the time. There's always a fine line that you don't want the AI to be perfect and never make a mistake because it's not realistic, but we do want it to be excellent. So I will certainly check out how the AI is handling a late game foul in that situation. If you haven't seen kind of what we've been doing on the 2D screen here for this version too, you'll notice that the recent play section is new down here for the game this year. It's giving you the kind of the big things that are happening, that a rebound, a made basket, stuff like that. You can always switch to the play-by-play log if that's what you want to see, but you can switch that back anytime you want, so that you can kind of have these recent plays down here going right above the play-by-play action, one line at a time there. We're looking for players, hopefully Mason here on Cleveland, he's got 16 points. We're looking for players who are doing unique things during the game. So scoring 20 points, getting a possible triple-double, guys who have outstanding rebound or assist performances, things like that. And then we're going to see that pop up, which is going to show you the player and his name and his achievement for the game. So hopefully Mason here for Cleveland can get going just a little bit more. He's got 18 points already. We'll see. And then if you notice up in the corner there's Mason scored 20 points. So you'll see that it says he scored 20 plus points 39 times this season. So that's I think that's kind of a really unique display presentation option here that we'll have, so that when somebody does something, you're going to kind of feel like you're watching the game on TV, and you get that kind of notification on the screen about a player who's done something big. He is also possibly on his way to a triple-double, which would also generate another message down there that would tell you how many triple doubles he's had or something like that for the season. So if there's other things presentation wise that you would want to see, on the screen, certainly now is a good time to bring it up and talk about it, because we are are trying to tweak this to make it, really, I want this to be something that you can come and watch, not only because you want to coach. Obviously, I'm not coaching either of these teams. If I was, you have full control of coaching all the decisions, who's guarding who, what type of style you're playing, stuff like that. But I like sometimes playing just as a GM, so I might want to watch the game, especially when it gets to the playoffs and stuff like that. So I want the presentation to be interesting and something that you want to watch and kind of get some value out of, rather than just thinking you only have to sim the games out. Let's see. New Orleans, I thought about your stats request. Is it possible to display output split between starters, bench players in a game? I guess, let me ask you on that one, New Orleans. Are you talking about you want the stat area to switch back and forth to a back and forth between the starters and the bench players? It's something I can look at. The one thing that I didn't do that, partially because the area here kind of fits the 5 guys who are in the game good, and then if you've got a number of players on your bench, another 7 players or something like that, it's going to run into the energy levels down here. So I don't know how well it would work, but it's something I can look at. You can always go to the subs coaching screen too and see all of the players and their in-game stats. And then an idea for a scoring run. That's a good one too. That's something that you would see on a presentation. It would say, Detroit has outscored Cleveland 10-2 in the last 2 minutes or whatever. So something like that. That's a really good idea. It's something I can work on. It's anything like that is just something else that just has to be added. I think, to track it and then kind of determine when it's relevant, as opposed to when it's like an 8-6 run or something like that. So I guess I'd have to kind of work on figuring out how I'd want to handle that. Mason here has 27 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. He's closing in on the triple double. I hope he can get the triple double and see the triple double message here come up. I'm interested to see how many he's had during this simulated season here. And then, of course, you have the team stats that are down here that shows you all of the team totals for the game, so you can compare against each team. GM Games, Chris, what about to show the difference between a dunk or a layup? A dunk, the hoop shakes. That is a cool idea, but unfortunately, the hoops are part of the background images, so not really a way to make them shake. And whoops, I got the wrong. Well, you can see Wright Graham came up for a triple double, so it just grabbed the wrong guy on that situation. But as you can see, it's a beta work in process. That's why we're doing this and talking about and showing up. But yeah, that's kind of thing that will come up during the game now. So if you didn't notice that a guy was closing in on a triple double, you would see that pop up as Mason did achieve a triple double with 29, 10, and 12 here. Still in the third quarter. I'll have to go back and replay the stream and see what exactly took place. And there's probably just grabbed the guy with the wrong scoring. He probably made the score instead of grabbing the guy, Mason, who made the assist. And you can see there that he has 30 points on the night, so he gets yet another pop-up And we do have them for going beyond that if somebody does something ridiculous, like, drops 50 points or something like that. So there will be all kinds of these things that happen during the course of the game. So I'm going now. We've got to see a couple of them. I'll just exit out of the game, just so we could see that it was working and what you kind of have to look forward to. Couple other things I always like. Always looking for ideas for the insight screen. Having those the pop-ups that come up here, and this is not pulling up, so I must have done something incorrectly on that screen. But anything we want to track with graphs or charts. Let me see if I go back to it, if it'll. There it goes. The lineup tracking for the 4 factors is new in this year's version, showing you all of your lineups and how they are that way, and then also the team versus team for the 4 factors, and you can see which teams are the most proficient in effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, offensive rebound percentage, and free throw rate. And then, of course, we have the ability to do charts and graphs, the 3-point percentage versus 3-point attempts. It always highlights your players with your team colors, so you can see where your guys kind of stand out in the league. And it's always a good idea to you can use these things to find out a guy like Brinker here who's shooting 51% for threes. You wish he was higher on this spectrum here of shooting attempts. And then you've got guys who are high on the attempts, such as Robinson from Milwaukee, averaging more than 7 attempts a game and shooting 27%. So you can see players who are not performing very well as well, if you prefer to see it in this form rather than just the stats. And then, of course, the milestones. When you're starting a new game, they will obviously not have players who are in range for the milestones, so it will tell you that there is nobody in range for those significant milestones. So we did the milestone tracking and kind of the in-game presentation. We've spent a couple streams now talking about these type of ideas. You can see that the game is really coming together and being put together very well. So we're closing in on the point where we can get it in your hands for first access. We just kind of have to decide how we're going to do that. It's a little bit of a unique situation this year with as we always try to time our pro releases around the start of the pro seasons, and obviously we should be closing in on the start of the new NBA season, and we're still not even to the finals of the last one due to everything that got messed up this year. So we're still trying to figure out our attack plan for release, but we will let you know that shortly. This screen, by the way, while we're looking at the dashboard screen, has been redesigned a little bit this year to have the player faces in a card format here. Also the ability to roll over these icons, such as the $sign that lets you know he's in a contract year. The red bandaged injury guy lets you know that a player is injured. The blue bus lets you know that he is currently in the D League. And the green arrow here lets you know that he was signed as a two-way player. And then the green face means he's happy, and there's yellow for kind of so-so, and then red if a player is angry. So that's all attempt at giving you more visual cues to what's going on. You can see that their star rating, their stats, their contract status is all here as well. The pie chart here to show you which players are the most impactful on your team news, scoring, passing, rebound leaders, how you match up with your next opponent, and the possibility that you might win that game. So, we'll probably start going more into maybe playing a little bit in some of these developer dynasties, so that we take a look at all of the screens again to kind of go through again things that have been updated, things that have been changed. We did a lot of work in the early streams. We talked about all the different new options with trading players in terms of being able to get offers for players the showing where teams have weaknesses, showing what kind of plan those teams are on, being able to click the get offer and see if that player the other team wants that player in a trade, and even talking about the ability to do some sign and trade type stuff during free agency in the summer. So a lot of work's gone into the trade screen. A lot of work's, we talked about the league linking. We'll probably have kind of a rundown show before we do the first access, kind of highlighting all of the big new things again, so everybody can see it, kind of like maybe the final stream before first access, so everybody can get a look at all of the new stuff, or at least most of it. But if you've got any suggestions, like I said, time's ticking away. We're getting close to being at that point, but there's still time to work in suggestions. So either hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. Send a message through the forums, through our Slack channels, whatever. Even the support, the system, the ticketing system. If you want to open a ticket and send your ideas in there, I'll see them that way too. So I want to thank everybody for coming to the stream tonight, especially guys who did the chatting and helped me out here, is giving me some things to respond to. Definitely want to thank all of our followers and, of course, our subscribers. The support we're seeing on this platform has been really amazing so far, and I really appreciate you guys coming to the streams and giving your feedback and your opinions. That's why we're doing them. That's the biggest reason why we're doing these streams, so that we can get feedback as we go, and we can see what kind of things you're looking for to make the game even better this season. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. We will see you next week here, Tuesday night, 7:30 for another Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2021 Developer Dynasty stream. And we hope you have a great week and get those great ideas to keep coming in. Thanks everybody. Take care.